The Middle East, a region synonymous with conflict. Now a dangerous escalation adds another layer to the turmoil. Israel, for the first time, has launched airstrikes on Yemen. This unprecedented move comes after a drone attack on Tel Aviv, which the Houthis claimed responsibility for. The strikes targeted a strategic port city controlled by the Houthis, marking a significant escalation in the region's complex web of conflicts. The echoes of explosions in Hodeidah, the port city, reverberated throughout the region. They served as a stark reminder of the volatile situation in Yemen and the widening reach of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The strikes have drawn international condemnation and raised fears of a broader regional conflagration. The recent events highlight the precarious balance of power in the Middle East. They also underscore the international community's failure to find a lasting solution to the conflict in Yemen. The strikes threaten to exacerbate the humanitarian crisis in Yemen and further destabilize the region.
The Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, confirmed the airstrikes. They stated that the targets were military infrastructure used by the Houthis. The IDF claims these sites were used to launch the drone attack on Israel.
The strikes focused on Hodeidah, a crucial port city on the Red Sea. This port is a lifeline for millions of Yemenis dependent on humanitarian aid. The attack on Hodeidah has drawn criticism from the United Nations. They warn of catastrophic consequences for civilians already on the brink of famine. The IDF asserts that the strikes were precise and targeted military objectives. However, reports from Hodeidah paint a different picture. Witnesses describe widespread damage and civilian casualties. Hospitals, already overwhelmed by the ongoing conflict, struggle to cope with the influx of wounded.
The drone attack on Tel Aviv shattered a period of relative calm in Israel. While rocket attacks from Gaza are sadly not uncommon, a drone reaching Tel Aviv is a rarity. The attack caused panic and raised concerns about the increasing sophistication of Houthi weaponry.
The drone, according to Israeli authorities, was intercepted and destroyed before it could cause significant damage. However, the attack served as a stark reminder of Israel's vulnerability to attacks from groups beyond its immediate borders. The incident has ignited a debate within Israel about its defense capabilities and the effectiveness of its Iron Dome system against drone threats. The attack represents a dangerous escalation by the Houthis. It demonstrates their willingness to expand the conflict beyond Yemen's borders and directly target Israel. This escalation has the potential to drag Israel further into the Yemeni conflict and complicate efforts to find a peaceful resolution.
The strikes on Yemen and the drone attack on Tel Aviv cannot be viewed in isolation. They are symptoms of a broader, regional power struggle playing out across the Middle East. This struggle pits Israel and its allies against Iran and its proxies, including the Houthis in Yemen.
The Houthis, who control much of northern Yemen, have long been backed by Iran. They view Israel as an enemy and have repeatedly expressed their support for Palestinian militant groups like Hamas. The drone attack on Tel Aviv should be seen within this context as an attempt by the Houthis to strike at Israel and bolster their regional standing.
For Israel, the strikes on Yemen represent an opportunity to send a message to Iran and its allies. They serve as a warning against any further attempts to target Israeli interests. The strikes also highlight Israel's willingness to take preemptive action to counter perceived threats, even beyond its immediate borders.
Lost amidst the geopolitical maneuvering is the plight of the Yemeni people. Years of war have ravaged the country, creating what the UN calls the world's worst humanitarian crisis. The recent strikes on Hodeidah threaten to exacerbate this already dire situation.
Hodeidah is a lifeline for millions of Yemenis. It's the main entry point for humanitarian aid and essential goods, including food, fuel, and medicine. The strikes on the port have disrupted these vital supply lines, raising fears of widespread shortages and a deepening of the humanitarian catastrophe.
Aid agencies operating in Yemen are struggling to provide assistance to those in need. They face enormous challenges, including insecurity, bureaucratic hurdles, and a lack of funding. The recent escalation in violence will only make their work more difficult and dangerous.
The international community has reacted with alarm to the escalating violence between Israel and the Houthis. The United Nations has condemned both the drone attack on Tel Aviv and the Israeli airstrikes on Hodeidah. They have called for restraint from all sides and urged a de-escalation of the conflict.
The United States, a close ally of Israel, has expressed its concern about the violence. They have called on all parties to engage in dialogue and find a peaceful resolution to the conflict. However, the U.S. has also reiterated its support for Israel's right to defend itself against attacks.
The European Union has also condemned the violence and called for a ceasefire. They have expressed particular concern about the humanitarian situation in Yemen, urging all parties to ensure the delivery of humanitarian aid to those in need.